Right now, somewhere in your bathroom, there is a jar that cost you more than a week of groceries. You bought it because the box was heavy in your hand, because the cream inside was the color of a pearl, because a woman with impossibly smooth skin looked into a camera and promised you that this little pot of magic, was the thing that would finally turn back the clock. And here is the part that nobody selling it to you will ever say out loud. For years now, dermatologists and the chemists who actually formulate these products have been quietly telling anyone who will listen the same uncomfortable truth. The price on that jar has almost nothing to do with what's inside it. So much of what gets marketed to women our age as anti-aging is, in their own words, mostly storytelling. Beautiful, expensive storytelling. And the women being asked to pay the most for that story are women over 50. I've spent the last few weeks doing the one thing every beauty counter on earth is praying you never do. I read the ingredient lists, the real ones. On the back, in the tiny print, they hope your eyes can't manage anymore. I dug up who actually owns these so-called independent luxury brands. I compared what a jar costs to make against what it costs you to take it home. And I lined the cult favorites up. The ones with the waiting lists, the ones your favorite celebrity won't stop talking about. Right next to the boring little tubes that dermatologists actually reach for. And honestly, what I found made me angry. Not on behalf of the influencers, on behalf of my own mother. On behalf of every woman on a fixed income who has been faithfully repurchasing the same $300 cream for 15 years, because a salesperson in a white coat once made her feel like stopping would mean giving up. This is for the woman who saves for months for her one nice thing. For the grandmother who got gifted the fancy serum and felt too guilty to admit it did absolutely nothing. If you are over 50 and you have ever stood at one of those counters feeling like you were being quietly sized up, then this one is for you. So today, I'm naming names. 8 anti-aging brands that, in my honest opinion, are taking real money out of the pockets of women over 50 and handing them a pretty story in return. But stay with me all the way to the end, because I am not going to leave you standing there with nothing. After the 8, I'll give you the brands that genuinely earn a place on your shelf. The ones the dermatologists keep coming back to. And some of them cost less than your morning coffee. If this is your kind of honest, go ahead and hit subscribe. Because here at Beauty After 50, no one pays us to say nice things, which means we get to tell you the truth they never will. But first, do me one small favor. Go look in your bathroom. Right now. I'll wait. Then come straight back and comment the one brand on this list that is sitting in your cabinet at this very moment. Don't be shy about it. I promise you are not the only one. Not by a long way. Number 8. Tatcha. You know the look instantly. The deep violet bottle. The brushed gold lid. The whole world wrapped around it. Japanese gardens, ancient rituals, water drawn from some sacred spring. It feels less like skincare and more like a little meditation retreat you get to keep on your sink. And the women who love it really do love it. Meghan Markle, Jennifer Aniston, half of Hollywood swears by the stuff. But here's where the spell quietly breaks for me. Strip away all that silk robe poetry and look at what you are actually buying. A perfectly pleasant hydrating product built mostly around rice extract, algae, and ordinary humectants, the same ingredients doing the exact same job in tubes that cost a fraction as much. You are not paying for rarer science. You are paying for the ritual. For the little ceremony of the lid clicking shut. And that, right there, is the engine the entire luxury end of this industry runs on. They cannot charge you 3 figures for a nice moisturizer. So instead, they sell you a heritage, a ceremony, a story about a faraway place you'll never visit. And the story is what costs $90, not the cream. For a woman over 50 who is genuinely hoping for a real change in firmness, or in those deeper lines, that's the quiet little heartbreak of it. You bought the most beautiful jar on the shelf, and it's doing roughly what a $15 one would do. Lovely packaging, ordinary ingredients, a steep premium charged for the poetry. But if you think a pretty story is the worst of it, wait until you see what number 7 charges you for a single ingredient. Number 7. SK2. This one comes with a legend attached, and I'll admit it's a good one. Decades ago, the story goes, researchers noticed that the elderly workers at a Japanese sake brewery had remarkably youthful, soft hands. And from that single observation, one fermented yeast ingredient was supposedly born. They call it patera, and they have built an entire empire on top of it. Then you turn the bottle over, because sitting behind that mystical little brewery tale is one of the largest consumer goods corporations on the planet. The very same company that makes your laundry detergent and your razor blades. And that miracle essence you're being asked to pay a small fortune for? At its heart, it is one fermented ingredient suspended in water, sold to you as though it were liquid gold poured from a temple. The trick here is focus. Pour everything into one hero ingredient, wrap it in a decades-old fairy tale, and suddenly a watery essence becomes a kind of religion, with a price tag to match the devotion. For women our age, who get told this is the secret, the Japanese have always known. It stings to realize you're paying ceremony prices for a fermentation you could find in one form or another for far, far less. One ingredient, one legend, one genuinely large bill. And speaking of legends, the next one isn't built on a brewery, it's built on a doctor's name. And in my opinion, that makes it worse. Number 6. Pericone MD. Now this one is clever because it borrows the exact authority I keep telling you to trust. It was founded by a real, genuine dermatologist. His name is right there on the box. Those two little letters, MD, sit inside the logo. And the whole quiet pitch is simple. A skin doctor made this, so surely it must be the real thing. And look, I am not going to pretend the man isn't qualified, because he is. But here is what I want you to notice. A doctor's name on a jar is a marketing asset. It is not a guarantee of value. You are being asked to pay a serious premium built on credentials and big, impressive-sounding science. Cold plasma, neuropeptides, language carefully engineered to make you feel like you're holding medicine instead of a cosmetic. That's the mechanism in plain sight. Take the trust you would naturally give a dermatologist in a clinic, bottle it, and then charge you clinic prices at the cosmetics counter for a product that, legally, can only ever do what any other cosmetic does. And here is the irony I genuinely cannot get past. On a channel that spends its whole life telling you to listen to dermatologists. A dermatologist's own brand is, in my view, one of the ones charging you the most for the least. That white coat is doing an enormous amount of heavy lifting on the price tag. An impressive name, some very expensive promises, and the exact same cosmetic rules as everybody else on the shelf. But if a doctor's name on the label bothers you, wait until you see who is allowed to charge over $350 for the next one. Number 5. Dr. Barbara Sturm. If you've walked through a high-end department store any time in the last few years, you have seen it. The clinical white packaging, the cool molecular-looking branding, all that anti-pollution, anti-blue light vocabulary. It is designed, head to toe, to look like something lifted straight out of a laboratory. And that is entirely the point. Then you see the price. We are talking, for the signature face cream, north of $350 for one single jar. And when you go hunting for what on earth justifies that, the proof that it does something a far cheaper cream simply couldn't, what you tend to find sitting right at the center of the whole pitch is this, that it leaves your skin feeling more hydrated. Let me say that one slowly, because it really matters. My skin feels more hydrated is something you can get from a $10 moisturizer. You can get it from a $15 one. You could get it, frankly, from a tall glass of water and a decent lotion. Hydration is the single easiest promise to keep in all of skincare. And here it is being sold to you for the price of a month of groceries. For a woman over 50 who is honestly worried about deep lines and lost firmness, that's the real cruelty of it. You reached for the most medical, most expensive thing in the entire store. And the headline it can actually, truthfully deliver is the one thing your cheapest cream already does. I know some of you swear by this one, and I am bracing myself for those comments right now. But that's nothing, because number 4 is the one I know for a fact is going to start a fight, and I'm putting it on this list anyway. Number 4. Drunk Elephant. And yes, I already know. A lot of you adore this brand. The colorful little bottles, the whole clean clinical attitude, the cult following, the famous skin smoothie thing where you blend the products together like you're following a recipe. I am about to annoy a great many people, so let me just own that right up front. Here is my honest take, and you are welcome to come and fight me about it in the comments. Drunk Elephant built itself a fanatical following by taking ordinary, well-understood active ingredients, vitamin C, retinol, peptides, acids, and branding them as something daring and revolutionary, packaged perfectly for a phone screen. But those actives are not rare. They are not secret. You can buy every single one of them, very often at higher and more honest concentrations for a fraction of the price. And then there's the part aimed squarely at us. This is a brand whose entire energy was built for a much younger face. The 20-somethings who, genuinely, don't even need most of it yet. And then it gets marketed up to women over 50 as if a colorful jar of perfectly standard actives is somehow the cutting edge. It isn't. It's good ingredients at a designer markup with a very loud personality stapled on top. So here is exactly where I'll take my heat. In my opinion, if you are over 50 and paying premium prices for Drunk Elephant, you are mostly paying for the vibe. Tell me I'm wrong, I mean it. I genuinely want to hear it. Comment below and let me know whether you think this one actually earns its price, because I know full well that plenty of you will disagree with me, and I want to read every single word of it. But let's move past the cult favorites now, because the last 3 are where the truly serious money disappears. And number 3 carries a price tag that even the experts who like it cannot defend. Number 3. Augustinus Bader. This is the one with the plain frosted bottle and the quiet confidence. The one that never has to shout because it knows it doesn't need to. And to be fair to it, fairer than the brand is to your wallet, there is a real scientist behind this one. A genuine biomedical researcher with real published work in cell signaling that began in burn and wound healing. That is not nothing, and I won't pretend it is. But here is the number, somewhere around $300 for one small jar of cream. And this is the part I really want you to sit with. Even the reviewers who like this cream, even the ones who will happily tell you it feels absolutely lovely on the skin, will turn around and tell you, flat out, that the price is impossible to defend on the ingredients alone. When the people defending a product openly admit you cannot justify the cost by what's actually inside it, that is not me being a cynic. That is the entire game, said right out loud. The mechanism here is the most sophisticated one on this whole list. A patented complex with a name that reads like a secret code, a genuine academic pedigree, and a story all about regeneration, stacked up together until $300 somehow feels like science instead of markup. For a woman over 50 eyeing this as her one big splurge of the year, the honest truth is that you are paying a small fortune for a very nice moisturizer wrapped inside a very impressive resume. And if every one of these is making you a little bit angry by now, if some part of you has always quietly suspected these companies were counting on you never looking too closely, then comment and tell me. I genuinely want to know how many of us figured this out. Because the next 2 have been doing this the longest, and charging the very most to do it. Number 2. La Prairie. The cobalt blue jars. The words caviar and platinum stamped across the label. A counter that looks less like a shop and more like the lobby of a Swiss bank. This is luxury skincare right at the very top of the mountain. And the prices absolutely match the view. We are talking $400, $600, and for the so-called platinum elixirs, comfortably over $800. For something you smooth onto your face. Now, here is the fact I genuinely believe every woman should know before she ever hands over that kind of money. La Prairie, this glittering pinnacle of exclusive Swiss luxury, is owned by a German company called Beiersdorf. And do you happen to know what Beiersdorf's most famous product in the entire world is? Nivea, the little blue tin of cream you can pick up at the supermarket for a couple of dollars. Just sit with that for a second. The very same parent company sells you the $2 tin and the $800 elixir. Now, I am not telling you They are the identical cream in different jars, because I cannot prove that, and I won't claim something I can't stand behind. But I am telling you that when one single company operates comfortably at both ends of a spectrum that wide, you owe it to yourself to ask, very seriously, what exactly that extra $798 is actually buying. In my honest opinion, the blue jar, the marble counter, the feeling it gives you, caviar on the label, platinum in the name, a Swiss fairy tale, priced to make almost anyone flinch. For a woman over 50 being told this is an investment in herself, that is the single most expensive story in this entire video. And it still isn't number one, because the most famous jar of them all is next. And once you hear this one number, I don't think you will ever look at it quite the same way again. And number one, La Mer. Of course it's La Mer, the cream of all creams. The one with the legend, an aerospace physicist, a terrible lab accident, a miracle broth fermented from sea kelp. The one your favorite movie star keeps glowing on her nightstand. The one in the heavy glass jar that you scoop into with a little spatula, never pump, like it's something genuinely sacred. For decades now, it has been the gold standard of I've finally made it skincare. The gift you give when you really, truly want to impress someone you love. So, here is the fact I want left ringing in your ears for the rest of the day. A few years back, an investigation looked into what it actually costs to produce a mid-sized jar of crème de la mer. The estimate came back at somewhere around $35 to make, and that very same jar is sold to you for hundreds. A single ounce runs you right around $200. The big jars climb toward $2,500. And La Mer, this great symbol of one-of-a-kind, independent luxury, is owned by Estée Lauder, one of the largest beauty conglomerates on the entire planet. The famous miracle broth is proprietary, which is a very polite way of saying you simply have to take their word for it, because the strongest proof tends to come from studies the brand itself paid to run. But here is the mechanism, the thing that should bother you the most. Turn that $200 jar around and go looking for the ingredients dermatologists actually agree fight the visible signs of aging. Your retinoids, a real working dose of proven antioxidants, sun protection. You will not find them carrying the weight here. What you will find instead is a rich, beautifully textured moisturizer, heavy on mineral oil and similar emollients, wrapped inside the most powerful origin story the beauty world has ever written. For the woman over 50 who has loyally repurchased this for 20 years, truly believing it was the one thing holding the years at bay, I'm sorry, I really am, you were not foolish. You were marketed to by the very best in the entire business. A $35 jar, a $200 price, the most beautiful story money has ever been able to buy. A miracle in the name, a moisturizer in the jar, and a small fortune lifted right out of your purse. So, go and look. Right now, go check that bathroom shelf, and if you find La Mer or La Prairie or Augustinus Bader or Drunk Elephant, anything at all from this list, I want you to pick it up. Look hard at the price you paid for it and ask yourself one honest question. Are you going to keep buying it? Or are you finally done? Toss it, finish it, keep right on repurchasing. Whatever you decide, come and tell me in the comments. I read them and I genuinely want to know which way you're leaning tonight. Be honest with me. But take a breath now, because I made you a promise. I would not leave you standing there with nothing, and I won't. Here is the good news that Counter will never, ever tell you. The things that actually work on aging skin are not rare, and they are not expensive. The real heroes are deeply unglamorous. They come in plain little tubes, and dermatologists have been quietly pointing women toward them this entire time. So let me give you the ones that are genuinely worth your money. First, The Ordinary. This brand earned its place by doing the one single thing the luxury world flatly refuses to do. It tells you the truth, right there on the front of the label. The product is literally named after the ingredient inside it, and the exact percentage is printed on the front. No fairy tales, no miracle broth, no sacred spring. Just, here is the retinol, here is the niacinamide, and here is precisely how much of it you're getting. And here is a fact I find genuinely delicious. The Ordinary is, through its parent company, ultimately owned by the very same Estée Lauder that owns La Mer. The same family of companies will happily sell you a $200 jar of mystery on one shelf, and a $7 bottle that tells you exactly what's inside it on another. That enormous price gap was never science. It was always packaging. What you actually get is real actives. The retinoids, the vitamin C, the acids, the ones that genuinely have evidence behind them, at concentrations that actually do something, inside a bottle that costs less than lunch. The Ordinary proves the entire point of this video. Real quality does not require a beautiful lie. It just requires a little honesty and a fair price. Next, CeraVe. This is the one your dermatologist has very likely already told you to buy, and there is a solid reason it gets recommended in clinics constantly. It was developed alongside dermatologists, built around ceramides, the actual building blocks of your skin's barrier, plus the humectants that keep moisture sitting where it belongs. Is it boring? Completely. Does it work? Yes, it does. It's transparent. It's available absolutely everywhere, and it costs a tiny fraction of anything sitting on that villains list. No celebrity. No sacred spring. No platinum. Just a barrier cream that quietly does the unglamorous work of keeping mature skin comfortable, calm, and protected. The reward is the part you can actually feel. Skin that's less tight, less papery, less reactive, hydrated in a way that genuinely lasts. And none of the guilt that comes from having spent a fortune to get there. CeraVe proves that the cream the experts actually reach for costs a few dollars, not a few hundred. Then La Roche-Posay. If The Ordinary is honesty and CeraVe is your barrier, then La Roche-Posay is the one dermatologists lean on hardest when skin is sensitive, reactive, or just plain tired of being experimented on. It is pharmacy skincare in the very best sense of the word. Gentle, seriously well-researched formulas, and some of the most respected sunscreens anywhere in the world. And I want to say this part louder. For the women over 50 sitting in the back, sunscreen is the single most powerful anti-aging product that exists. Not the $800 elixir, a good daily sunscreen. The dermatologists are unanimous on this. In a way, they are unanimous about almost nothing else in the entire field. The payoff here is protection. The thing that actually slows the visible aging those luxury jars only ever promise to reverse. In a formula that genuinely feels good enough to wear every single day. La Roche-Posay proves that the most effective step in your whole routine can also be one of the most affordable. Then, Olay. And specifically, Regenerist. Here's another one that will make you smile the moment you know it. Olay is owned by Procter & Gamble, the very same company behind SK-II, that miracle essence from earlier. The same parent. Wildly, wildly different price. And Olay Regenerist, the drugstore one, is built around niacinamide and peptides. And unlike most of those luxury brands, Olay has actually put its products through published testing. That is the quiet little scandal of the whole thing. That one conglomerate sells you the expensive Pitera Legend on one shelf, and the affordable, well-studied workhorse on the other. And it's the affordable one that's actually done its homework. The reward could not be simpler. A genuine anti-aging routine, with real evidence sitting behind it, for about the price of a sandwich and a coffee. Olay proves you were never, ever paying for better science. You were just paying for a fancier shelf. And finally, Cetaphil. Along with its cousin in spirit, Vanicream. These are the brands dermatologists quietly hand to the patients whose skin simply cannot tolerate the circus anymore. The redness, the stinging, the overactive glow routines. They make no grand promises whatsoever. They do not claim to reverse 20 years overnight. And that restraint is the precise reason the experts trust them so completely. For mature skin, which is so often drier, so often more sensitive, a gentle cleanser and a simple, fragrance-free moisturizer that won't strip you raw or sting is worth more than any platinum jar ever made. And it costs about as much as a magazine. The reward is your skin finally stopping its fight with you. Clean, calm, comfortable, no drama, no debt. Cetaphil proves that gentle and boring is, very often, exactly what aging skin has been quietly begging for the whole time. So let's lay the whole thing bare. On one side, you've got the stories. Tatcha's Ritual, SK2's Brewery Legend, Pericone's White Coat, Sturm's Laboratory Look, Drunk Elephant's Loud Little Jars, Augustinus Bader's Pedigree, La Prairie's Swiss Caviar, and La Mare's $35 Miracle. 8 beautiful tales, sold to women over 50 at the price of a serious investment. And, on the other side, you've got the truth. The Ordinary's Honesty, CeraVe's Barrier, La Roche-Posay's Sunscreen, Olay's Homework, and Cetaphil's Restraint. 5 plain little heroes that ask for your trust instead of your savings. And the moral underneath all of it is the one single thing this industry spends billions of dollars to keep you from ever saying out loud. The price of the jar is the story, not the science. You were never behind. You were never doing it wrong. You were just standing in front of the best marketing machine that has ever been built. And now you get to walk straight past it. So here is what I want from you tonight. Go and check that shelf. Really check it. And decide right now what stays and what goes. Then come tell me 2 things in the comments, because I read every one of them, and they genuinely decide what we do next on this channel. Number 1. Which brand did I leave off this list? The one you think is robbing women over 50 blind. And number 2. What should I expose next? The anti-aging supplements? The $1,000 serums? The salon treatments that promise you the world and deliver a nap? You name it, and I will go digging. And if this saved you from even one bad purchase, then do me the favor right back. Like this video so that more women over 50 get to see it before they ever reach that counter. Hit subscribe and ring that bell, because next time we are pulling the curtain all the way back on the so-called miracle eye creams. The tiny little jars with the absolutely giant prices. And I think a few of your favorites are about to be in very serious trouble. Until then, keep your money, keep your wits about you, and keep your standards sky high. This is Beauty After 50. Because at our age, sweetheart, you have earned the truth, not the markup. I'll see you down in the comments.